I feel like in Ghana, the most innocent idea can pop up into something very big. People are also willing to work with you, and once they know that you are interested in investing in the country, you get, a lot of hands on deck to help.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Diaspora's Guide podcast, where we seek to inform, educate, and inspire you when it comes to investing in Ghana. So, today I have with me another special guest. Almost 12 years ago, he made the decision to relocate not just himself, but his entire family from the Netherlands to Ghana. Now, he still holds close ties to the Netherlands, and he'll tell us a bit more about that. But today, we'll be talking about his journey and his achievements over the last few years. I have here with me Richard Yeboah. Richard, you are most welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you on the podcast just to learn a bit more about how your journey has been. So, as I mentioned, so you moved from the Netherlands to Ghana, working with MDF. I know you've been a country manager, then you were a regional manager, and currently you're an executive director. But we just want to go back in time to the Netherlands. What was life like for you when you were still fully based in the Netherlands?
Well, I would say I had it good. I did my master's in the Netherlands. I had my own company since 2003. Was doing okay. Bought my first house in the Netherlands. Got married, but I really wanted to do some other things. Really, and I was already engaged in working abroad, moving to Ghana, Sierra Leone, Liberia, doing all sort of projects. And so I wanted to really focus on that more.
Okay. So your move to Ghana was like it's something you knew you always wanted to do, or was there something that sparked it and said, okay, now's the time that we're going to move?
Well, so I think it's actually started in 2012 when South Sudan became independent. So the Dutch government had a program in South Sudan, and actually I was part of a team that applied to implement the project. And one of the partners was MDF.
Okay.
And so through that, I got to know what MDF was doing across Africa, Asia, and Europe. And in the discussions with MDF, I found out that there was an opportunity possible to join them in Ghana. And so that's how everything accelerated.
Okay. And how many months of preparation did it take you, and how did you prepare actually before moving to Ghana?
So as I said, 2003, I had my own company. I actually did a 6 months internship in Ghana, and then from 2006, I was working on a project where we were supporting Ghanaian diaspora in Europe to set up businesses in countries of origin. So in Ghana, so I was coming quite often to Ghana.
Okay.
And as I was coming, I saw a lot of opportunities. And one time, one of my customers asked me, "But you are advising us to come to Ghana. Why are you not moving?" And so, actually, that is the moment that for me it started rethinking about, okay, maybe I should also take the step.
Wow. Okay. And then you took that step in 2013.
13 years.
2013. Okay.
Yes.
So how has Ghana been over the years from 2013 to now we're in 2024? What are some of the things that you faced, some of the things that you experienced?
Well, I think one of the things that is interesting in Ghana is that Ghana is very greenfield, saying that there's a lot of opportunities, but you need to take your time to investigate and find where the opportunities are. And for me, that was really having the I would say I grew up in Amsterdam, so having the Amsterdam way of doing things, the boldness to really go for things where people say it is not possible. I think that has really helped me to establish myself in Ghana.
Interesting, yeah. And then you didn't just come here by yourself. You mentioned that you were married, had children. And when I talk to people in the diaspora, especially those that have families, one of the main things they say is, there's no way I can relocate myself and my entire family. How was that for you?
Well, so I think for me is it about relocation? For me, I would always say that when we talk about diaspora, everybody talks about coming back or leaving something behind, and I think my journey has always been to have the strong tie with the Netherlands. My wife grew up in Belgium, so she has also a very strong tie in Belgium. So really, we have this Afro-European type of way of doing things. And of course, you will have to look at the schools to send your kids with. You have to look at where you will live, and it's possible. I think the assumption or the idea that it's not possible in Ghana is wrong perception. Most people come to Ghana on holidays and deal with friends with family that may not understand maybe the system as well as others know.
Yeah.
So for me, that was really coming here to do my own investigation, going to schools, talking to other diasporas, but also talking to Dutch people that are living here in Ghana,
Yeah.
how they have done it, and based on that, make a decision on what type of steps to take. But of course, for me, the kids were young. So my wife was actually pregnant when I took the step. So bringing them here was easier than I would assume somebody that maybe the kids are 5, 6, 7, or 8 years.
All right, interesting. And I think earlier you spoke about, being raised in Amsterdam, like maybe with certain values. How were you able to balance, integrate that with maybe the Ghanaian business culture?
Well, I think, I work in an international organization, so with a Dutch orientation. So, in principle, our culture is very much international. That's one side. Our clients are also international clients, mainly based also in Ghana, but also in the region, on the continent, and international. So, it's a mixture of understanding your position. So we were really mindful of positioning ourselves as a local company with international experience. Whereas we have people that have lived and work outside the country, people that are based here but have also international experience, and based on that, position ourselves and adding value to the Ghanaian economy. So I think that is also something that you need to have in mind if you are coming back, that you have an added value. The country needs additional knowledge, expertise, and therefore coming here is not merely that you are diaspora, but that you also bring in some talents that the country needs.
Good. And what would you say are key opportunities for diasporans that are looking to invest in Ghana?
Well, if I focus on specifically Ghana and the Netherlands, for instance, we know that Netherlands is very strong in agriculture, food systems, and all those things. So I would say a linkage between that. I know in my work, I know that a lot of Dutch companies would like to take the bold step to establish here in Ghana, but they are looking for somebody that they can work with, somebody that either speaks their language, understands their cultures, they understand their way of doing things. And I think the diaspora could play an important role in that journey of Dutch companies. And other side also for diaspora coming here, I think you need to bring something unique, something new. And the only way you can do that is teaming up or bringing something that is not here yet.
And sometimes people coming in, they hear things on the news, they see things going on, and sometimes they see negative things when it comes to Ghana. If you were to speak to someone in the diaspora, what are some challenges they may face or things that they need to keep in the back of their mind, and how do they manage those things?
Well, I think the diaspora always forgets, and I always say that, listen, when we were growing up, in this case in the diaspora, what was our situation? We didn't have the network. So you needed to build a network. You didn't have the social contact, so you needed to build a social contact. You also didn't have the business contact, so you needed to build up. That's the same process that you need to take when you are coming back to Ghana. So the same process that you took to be successful in the Netherlands or somewhere outside Africa, the same process you need to use to be successful here. So trying not to cut corners. I think that is the main lessons that I've learned, that stay to yourself and rather showcase that you can do things differently.
Yeah. And it brings me to the next question, which has to do with network. I've personally seen how important network is, but I'm also curious, how important has network been for you throughout this journey, and what advice, again, would you give someone when it comes to networking?
Again, yes, the network is important. I think when I came here, of course, I'm Ghanaian origin, but one of the things that I really started doing is linking up with the Dutch community here, because that was for me a direct, because I left here at the age of 7, so I don't have direct friends.
Yeah.
So initially I linked up with the Dutch community here, and also based on that made new friends and also business relations, and then step by step build that up. So it is a journey, and I think you cannot do that everything in one day. As I said, I've been coming on a business related visits to Ghana since 2003, and 2013 that I made a step. So at the end, it's 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not just the day that you think about isn't necessarily the day that you made that step, but you start making small steps. So if someone right now is watching and they're like, I would really want to do something in Ghana, what could be a first step that they could take?
Well, I would always say that sometimes you should just come here, but not on holiday.
Yeah.
Come here as a trade mission. So don't come during the Christmas period, but come during March, April, May, June, a period where people are working.
Yeah.
Visit organizations, talk to organizations, start with GIPC, come with GNBCC, the Dutch Embassy. There are so many, even the European Commission here. You can step there and have discussions with, and then have an understanding. What I did, I recall that I drove, in 2006, I drove from Accra all the way to the northern part of Ghana. Why? Just to see what's going on, to just experience Ghana from a different perspective, and intentionally organize everything myself without involving family members, also to also really understand truly what the processes are.
Yeah, interesting. Do you think everyone in diaspora should move back? Move back?
No, so we have had these discussions many times. I think that the diaspora have different roles to play. Diaspora has the role to play as a philanthrope. Yes, have a good job, I have good income, I just want to support. There are so many civil society organizations, NGOs that you can support with your funds. The diaspora as an investor. So not everybody is capable of setting up their own business, but you can invest. There are so many young, innovative businesses here that are looking for small amounts from 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 euro to invest. Well, you could provide those investments. You could also be an entrepreneur, and I always say that there are two ways. Either you come and do it yourself, or you bring a Dutch concept or European concept and then start to establish yourself. It's in principle what I did, although MDF was already established here in Ghana, but I believe that with my input, we are able to grow the company here in Ghana and becoming a local regional entity that is really providing job for young people here, but also and strengthening the economy. So I think those combinations are there. But then the other side of it is also being an employee of a company. There are so many foreign companies that are claiming that they don't get good quality stuff. So that is also a way of diaspora entering the labor market here to support these companies.
So people that are looking to invest in Ghana, what kind of investments should they look at? What kind of sectors should they look at?
Well, so if you look at it, automatically people will say real estate, people will say agriculture, but if I look at it from the perspective of specifically in this case Netherlands, if I look at what type of jobs a lot of uh, let's say Ghanaians are doing, have gone to school in that I would say in the healthcare. I would say also agriculture, but I would also say that there are in the service sector a lot of things that is missing here,
Yeah.
which you can easily with a small investment jump in. And then I'm talking about an investment of 50,000. I quite remember that when we came here, and even still now, there's a difficulty to find kids' playground. So a simple playgrounds that in the Netherlands you see everywhere, a
Yeah.
lot of these playgrounds. Why not? A lot of companies in the Netherlands are doing seedlings. A lot of agriculture businesses are looking for good quality seedlings. Why not in that aspect? I quite remember that when most of the time you look at this investment promotion and all those people are talking about millions of euros or dollars, but I really look at simple businesses, 50,000, even 10,000. As I said, I've invested in many of these young businesses, and it's really about 5,000 for the person to just buy 2 or 3 machines so that they can do food processing.
Yeah.
It's just very simple monies that they can get then an FDA approval to produce products that is good for the local market, varying from palm oil up to processing of cassava to gari. There are so many upgrades that traditional businesses need,
Yeah.
which I believe the diaspora with a small investment could realize.
Yeah. So how do they manage their investments if they're not around?
Well, so I think that's also the other side. That's why I said service area. There are new businesses coming up. We're using digitalization, IT, fintech modalities where you can use that to do your investment. So there are professional companies that are providing these services. And I think more and more there's a need for these type of business to business support so that you can then put your money into that. So there are a few of these companies, and I think diaspora, if they are very much interested, they should come and meet some of these companies where they can put in their money for good returns.
Great. And you have also invested personally in businesses. Could you share some experiences that you've had?
Well, it is. I would not say that it is all went well,
Okay.
but I think well, the reason why I do that is that I quite remember that when I started my first company in the Netherlands, somebody had to believe in me, and I quite remember that our first loan that we got was 1,000 euro, and with that we were able to really set up.
Right.
And I think some of the businesses here need that type of encouragement, that type of investment. But let's say there are already businesses, young businesses that I have also invested, that they had already their production in place. They had already invested in agriculture, and they just needed the follow-up investment. So some of these businesses I've put in my money, and some of them I also sit on their board as an
Right.
advisor to help them also grow their business.
Okay. Yeah. You mentioned some did not go as planned. Were these things you could have avoided or?
Well, yes, I think initially, of course, if you come here, you want to help a lot of people. So you don't look at the business concept. You look at the individual and then you want to do it. And what my lessons learned is that you really, no matter how nice or how wonderful the person is, you also need to look at the business part. Does it really make any business sense to invest? And also, what are the returns on investment? And I always say that if it looks too good to be true, then probably it is like that, because otherwise, why didn't all these banks put in money into that? So I think that is something that you need to do. You also need to learn. As I said, 10 years from now, I know which businesses I should invest and what I shouldn't invest in. But I wanted to say this because failures will come, but the way you learn from those failures and the way you then restart and build it, that will make you successful also in the context of Ghana.
Yeah. You spoke earlier about some Dutch values that you were able to implement in Ghana. Can you give us an example of some of the values and how that really helped?
Well, I think one of the things that we immediately did within our MDF is deadlines. If there are deadlines, you don't wait 1 minute, you don't wait 30 seconds. Deadline is deadline. And I think that was one of the things that I stress within the team. And also what we really were able to make it happen. So initially we missed a lot of deadlines because of, well, they can receive it an hour later or 30 minutes later, and we learn through that process. Besides that, I think what is very much important in the context of Ghana is that you stand by your word. So if you say that you do A, that you do A. I
Yeah.
think that that is, for me, some of the lessons learned. So, and in our business where we work with individuals, sometimes you need to meet a deadline, and therefore you ask for somebody's information, CV, and all this. So without any contract. I think most important thing is that when you win the assignment, you go back to the person and then organize proper contracting and also assign the person. I think initially that was really big, that people didn't want to give your CV. Why? Because they had the feeling that you would take the CV, you win assignment, and then they will not hear from you. And I think that that is something that I have taken with me and always try to enforce it within anything that I do.
Exactly, yeah. Are there any specific Ghanaian values that you think you picked up while being here?
Well, I would say that I don't know if it is a myth, but I'm from Ko, and I think Ko people are really the entrepreneurial people and really looking at ways of doing proper business. And I think that has always stick with me. When people say that it's not possible, then my question is why? And of why maybe are not doing the right way. So let me try it. And I think that is what has really helped me also in daring to ask the why question.
Right.
And continuously asking it. And I think that is maybe not Ghanaian, but that is more or less the diaspora way of trying to find out what is going on. And I believe that that is also what I brought here, is that in the Netherlands, I was always looking for answers because nobody was able to give me the answers. I had to look for myself. And so now that I'm in Ghana, I actually prefer looking for the answers myself than asking people how it is. Most of the time, people would then tell you stories that how it is. And I quite remember that there was a few times, like an example that I can give you is that, you know, in the Netherlands, universities are practically public places. You could go in and out and all this. And I remember that University of Ghana, there was a time that you couldn't pass through the university, and I was asking people why. and nobody could give me a reason why it was not, but everybody knew you couldn't pass there.
Right.
So for me, that is where the diaspora comes in, and that is where you can venture into businesses where you see difference in opportunities than people that are based here or people that have lived long time in Ghana.
Interesting. Ghana in the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see it?
Well, I think exciting. Yes, we are not there yet, but I think there's a lot of opportunities. I have the privilege to compare it with other countries. I travel through Africa, Asia, and Europe, and what I see here is that a lot of young people, although maybe they may not have a lot, but they have the zeal to work, and they have the zeal to have the opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
I think what is still missing is exposure, and I think with good policies, with influx of diaspora and foreign investment, there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities in Ghana, and I think we are strategically also positioned as Ghana, so it is easy to do business within West Africa, but within broader Africa, but also with Europe and the US. And then, of course, also with Asia, where I've now seen that a lot of opportunities are also there to do partnerships with Asian companies in Ghana.
Excellent. So I think what you just mentioned takes me to the AFTA, the Africa Free Continental Trade. I think that also has a lot of opportunity, and in subsequent episodes we'll talk about that, but maybe you can briefly share what do you see in terms of the opportunities that the AFTA has?
I think the possibilities are huge. You know, when we talk about diaspora, Ghanaian diaspora coming back to Ghana, we are only focusing on a market with 30 million people. But taken after, then you have suddenly a huge market, whereby the market is also getting people with the middle class more income. So I always say that if you are able to establish yourself in Ghana properly, the Africa is open for you.
Yeah.
And I think also in the rest of Africa, Ghanaians have a good name. So it also gives you that edge if you have established well here. But so yes, I see that also part of the successes that is coming up for Africa.
Great. Your final words to anyone watching?
Well, I would say for me, when we talk about diaspora, I would say it is not about an issue of either returning to Ghana or staying where you are now. I think it's both. The strength of the diaspora is the linkage between the host country and the country of origin, and actually trying to be the bridge between the two countries or two cultures. And even now, many of the diasporas have maybe multiple backgrounds, because they have maybe married with not even, maybe in the Netherlands, you have married with somebody from Suriname. So then you have the Dutch, the Suriname, and the Ghanaian in you. So there are so many opportunities for the diaspora to make use of the two cultural backgrounds that they have.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Welcome.
And thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure we've learned a lot, and we've been inspired even by hearing Richard's story. And again, as he mentioned, it's not just about having to leave one country behind to go to another, but actually to bridge both. I'd like to take this opportunity as well to thank the GNBCC, that's the Ghana Netherlands Business and Culture Council, which has been the sponsor of this video with the kind assistance of the Royal Netherlands Embassy. And again, as a GNBC Diaspora Desk, we are here to assist you when it comes to investing in Ghana. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to see you in the next episode.